It produces more slime in a single second than any other creature on Earth. Not a jellyfish. Not a slug. Not any animal you might expect. It is the hagfish, a creature so ancient, so strange, and so effective at surviving that evolution has seen no reason to change it in 500 million years. The ocean floor is a place of darkness and extraordinary pressure. Down here, below the reach of sunlight, the dead falls slowly from above. A whale carcass, a large fish, the body of a sea turtle drifting downward in the slow-motion ballet of the deep. Before it reaches the bottom, the hagfish are already moving. They can detect a carcass from over a kilometer away using chemoreceptors, sensory cells that read the chemical signatures of decay dissolved in the water. Where most creatures flee death, the hagfish rushes toward it. Look closely and you will struggle to find a face. Two small, lidless eyes that cannot form images. A circular mouth lined with tooth-like structures that opens not like a jaw but like a flower, or a trap. No paired fins. No scales. A body that looks unfinished, like a first draft of a vertebrate that never got revised. That is because it nearly is. Hagfish belong to a group called Myxini, and they sit at one of the oldest branch points in vertebrate evolution. They share a common ancestor with lampreys, the last surviving jawless fish. Together, these two lineages represent a glimpse of what life looked like before jaws, before bones, before all the anatomical innovations we take for granted in modern fish. The hagfish skull is made of cartilage. Its skeleton is rudimentary. It has no stomach in the traditional sense, relying instead on a simple, straight gut. Its blood pressure is so low it barely qualifies as circulatory by mammalian standards. And yet it survives. It thrives. It has outlasted the dinosaurs, the great extinction events, the slow grinding drift of continents. While the world around it changed beyond recognition, the hagfish did not need to. Part of this resilience comes from metabolism. A hagfish can go months without eating. When food is scarce, it simply slows. Its body reduces its energy demands to a whisper, waiting. When the next meal falls from above, it accelerates. It feeds in a way that is deeply unsettling, and also deeply practical. Entering a carcass through any available opening, the mouth, the gills, wounds in the flesh, a hagfish can eat its way through a body from the inside. It does not bite and tear. It clamps its mouth onto tissue and uses a rasping motion, two parallel rows of keratin teeth working in tandem, pulling material inward. When the flesh resists, it ties itself in a knot. Literally. The body loops around itself, the knot slides forward along its own spine, and the tension gives its mouth the leverage to rip free a mouthful. It is one of the very few animals known to use its own body as a mechanical tool. A single whale fall can support a hagfish population for years. Dozens, sometimes hundreds, writhing through the bones and fat and darkness, consuming what would otherwise go to waste. They are, in a meaningful sense, the ocean floor's essential cleanup crew. But the slime. Nothing prepares you for the slime. When a hagfish is threatened, grabbed by a predator, compressed, stressed, glands along its flanks release a substance unlike anything else produced by any living organism. It begins as concentrated packets of two proteins, mucin threads and fiber threads, both coiled under tension and stored in a state that cannot properly be called liquid. The moment these packets meet seawater, they expand. Rapidly. Within milliseconds, the proteins hydrate, uncoil, and form an interlocking three-dimensional mesh. A single gram of this substance can generate nearly a liter of slime in under half a second. The slime is not merely sticky. It is viscoelastic, meaning it behaves both like a liquid and a solid depending on how force is applied. Pull it slowly, it flows. Pull it fast, it holds. A shark that snaps at a hagfish finds its gills suddenly clogged, its ability to breathe cut off. Most predators release the hagfish immediately. A few have been found dead, suffocated by what they tried to eat. The hagfish, perfectly unbothered, ties itself into a knot, slides free of the slime, and continues about its business. For decades, scientists assumed the slime was purely defensive. Then researchers began examining its physical properties more carefully. The fiber threads within it are, pound for pound, comparable to spider silk in tensile strength, one of the toughest biological materials known. The mucin component is extraordinarily effective at trapping and dispersing energy on impact. Engineers working on sustainable textiles, impact-absorbing materials, and biomedical applications have all turned their attention to it. What evolution built as a survival mechanism 400 million years ago may become one of the most valuable materials in human biotechnology. The hagfish is also, improbably, among the most studied animals in neuroscience. It has no cerebellum, no cerebral cortex, no brain structures we associate with complex behavior. And yet it navigates. It feeds. It congregates. It responds. The simplicity of its nervous system makes it an ideal model for studying how neurons work in isolation, how the most primitive forms of sensory processing function. Several foundational discoveries about how nerve cells transmit signals were first made, or first confirmed, in the hagfish. A creature that looks like nothing, that evolved before complex brains existed, has taught us some of the deepest things we know about how our own minds operate. The hagfish has no glamour. No place in mythology. Its appearance alone makes most people recoil. But consider what this animal has actually accomplished. It watched the first fish develop jaws and did not need to follow. It watched bones evolve and decided cartilage was sufficient. It watched eyes develop into complex optical instruments and kept its simple light-sensitive patches. At every stage of vertebrate evolution, the hagfish was already there, and saw no reason to change. 500 million years of survival is not luck. It is mastery of a niche so complete, so total, that no competitor has ever managed to displace it. Here is the fact that reframes everything. The oldest living relative of every creature on Earth with a spine, including every fish, every amphibian, every reptile, every bird, every mammal, including you, is an animal that spends its life inside the bodies of the dead, produces a material stronger than steel by weight, survives months without food, and has been perfecting its existence since before the first forest grew. It was here before the trees. It will likely be here long after us. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, hit like and subscribe for more incredible facts.